Hello, welcome to Chew on This, a food talk show with Malaysia's top culinary talent, exploring the many influences our palate has on our personality through food, drink, and banter. I'm Tien, and I'll be your host into this world of good eats and gastronomy. I have two of my friends today in the studio, Katelyn Tan, who is currently a writer with Tatler Malaysia and also a passionate recipe creator and cook, and Theri Burhan, the founder of Set the Tables and a strategy and PR expert specializing in the F&B industry. So Katelyn, tell us a little bit about how you came to be a writer and how you ended up being attached to one of the nation's leading luxury lifestyle magazines.
So I think it wasn't actually a love for writing, but more a love for food. And as much as I love working in the F&B industry, working directly with food, I felt like maybe there was another way to support the key movers and shakers in the industry. Even though I really still like working with food, I felt like it was a side passion and maybe there would be other avenues to delve into, hence food writing.
Right.
I think it's a great way to write about heroes that lead our nation's culinary scene, tell their stories, and because there's so much going on. It's such an exciting time to be in Malaysia.
If I remember correctly, you told me before you joined Tatler, you also used to work in a restaurant, is that right?
Yes, here and there, cafes. But I think that at the end of the day, I realized that I always like making new things, different dishes and whatnot. So I delved a bit into recipe creation. And I guess it was always that search for something new that made me really like food writing because it's always a new story every day.
I see.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing your creating recipes now?
I've been cooking for a lot longer than I've been creating recipes. So I think that I've been cooking I first started getting into cooking when I went to uni. So I think that was in 2018.
Okay.
Was like, okay, I can't just be eating instant noodles all the time. So I'm going to try to make some recipes. And a friend bought me this cookbook called Simple About Ottolenghi. And it was so great because you would only need, about 5 to 7 ingredients. I live really close to a supermarket, so and it was a lot cheaper to cook, right? Because we were all on a uni budget. And I also hate cleaning up, so I realized soon enough that if I was doing the cooking, I could make my friends do all the cleaning. But then I also realized, okay, I really love creating flavors. I love playing with flavors. And then I would make it a point to cook for my housemates, for friends and whatnot. And then I guess it just went on from there. I started taking videos of my food, posting my food, first of all for fun. But then it was like, I guess people do quite like seeing what goes on in the kitchen and whatnot.
So Theri, tell us a little bit yourself.
Sure.
What's your background like? And tell us what was the inspiration for you to create Set the Tables and pursue writing in the F&B industry.
Sure. Like Katelyn, I love food. I always have a passion with food. But during my time, at the time, I always wanted to open a restaurant. I think it's a dream that everyone has a dream, right? So the dream is to open a restaurant. So my strategy was to work with the F&B group. So I started my career with the big group, with Benjamin Yong.
Wow.
At the time, it was the early 2010s. You probably could guess my age. But at the time, it was peak. The big group was expanding a lot. So I had the real privilege to just work alongside him on his marketing front and learn the ropes. So that's how I started with F&B.
I see.
Which I credit a lot to where I am now. And then I move on to actually working in the kitchen. I pursued the cordon bleu pastry course, and then I went to Singapore to work for Janice Wong about less than a year. Yeah, I was doing chocolate for about 8 months, and then I came back. So I thought I wanted to open a restaurant, and then I discovered, no man, this is not for me. I think it needs a certain trade, and a certain flair, craftsman. I knew I don't have it. Then I had a bit of a crisis because, oh my goodness, I love food. I know that I couldn't open a restaurant now, and then whatnot, right? But I always loved writing. And at that time, I was attached to another company, also doing F&B marketing. So my background is F&B marketing and strategizing. But at the time in my career, it was my lowest point of career. I wasn't very happy in the job. So I think it's when you have challenges and whatnot, it really push you to question your life and question your career. And at the time, I was reading the book called Setting the Table by Danny Meyer.
Oh.
Yeah. It was a very inspiring book. He talks about the behind the scenes of hospitality, and that inspired me to do, as you could see, the website called Set the Tables. It's inspired by the book. Right. And at the time, I feel like, and at the time, Monocle as well, they used to have a food publication. Only 2 that came out, and then it was no longer
2 issues.
There's only 2 issues, and they talk about stories of the chefs, stories of bartenders, even like designing, the menu and everything. So I was really
so the stories you don't normally hear about restaurants and
correct,
and you found that super fascinating.
So fascinating, and I think it's a story that brings out the restaurant or the brand of the dish. And I felt there was a void in doing that, because it's very easy, I think, for someone to eat and write food, how is it, taste and whatnot, but what are the people that behind it that makes it, right? So my inspiration is just to show this side, the industry side of the story. And I just started writing,
How you guys came to writing is so different from how I came to writing, which is really interesting to see how we're all in the same industry and the same position now. I came into writing knowing that I wanted to be a writer, but I didn't know I wanted to write about food necessarily. I just thought, I always, food is a big part of my life and my family, but I was just the writing first. And when I joined Tatler way back, they were like, hey, you're the only guy writer. You can take all the food stuff, so all the good women don't get fat. And then I was like, oh, that's a great, sure, it works for me. So I took all the writing, and then I was like, oh wow, I mean, I get to do something. I get to write about I already love and get paid. This is like a dream come true. So I just started doing that. It became very natural for me. Okay, Theri, you also write for the Michelin Guide. That's really cool. Tell us a little bit about that. What the experience is like?
When I got that, it was a dream come true, because partly I started Set the Tables because I feel like, for me, because I didn't come from a writing background, I come from the love of food. So I've no article, no proving, and it's hard to submit your article, like there's nothing to prove. That's partly why I just, I'm just going to write, I'm just going to launch a website and write about food. So that's how I started. And somehow that opened a lot of doors, and Michelin was one of that, actually. Journey was really, I would say, it opens more doors for me to be where I am now.
Nice.
Which is, I'm very grateful. But also, I think that experience gave me a lot of access to interviews with chefs and to really know their stories. And somehow I feel, because when you go to a restaurant, it's not just about the food, it's about the chefs that tells you the story about the food, at least for me.
Yeah.
So for me, even that part, it is a real experience, I would say. Yeah.
And that's really cool. I mean, it's an accolade, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I mean, how often you can say, oh, I write for Michelin?
I think so, yeah.
Today's topic is all about something that's, I think, is been gaining traction throughout the past 5 to 10 years. And basically the rise of healthy foods and how people are getting more creative, and how healthy food, the category in general, as restaurants, as snack foods, are just becoming more delicious throughout the years. We've seen the rise of the vegan movement, people being aware of having, let's say, eating less meat, or just having a healthier diet in general. But despite this, I still feel that there is healthy eating is not as prevalent as it should be in Malaysia. Our diet is still pretty poor. You guys speak to all sorts of people and from all walks of life about food and diet. Do you feel like this is an issue?
I guess a lot of us also feel the same way, in the sense that I would love to eat more healthy food than I actually do, and whether that actually translates into eating healthy food is very different, right?
Yeah, because of our schedule as well. And also I think Malaysian culture, there's a lot of carbs, noodles, fried food.
Yeah.
And it's very challenging.
It is
not to go to a hawker center or a mama. If you go to a mama, can you tell me a dish that is no carb?
You can just order a side.
What is the side?
An egg or something on the side, some vegetables on the side.
Yeah, but it's stir-fried vegetables, and the egg is probably like if you don't order like a runny egg, it's probably also like fried in oil. Yeah.
So I think my best attempt was coconut water and soup tulang or soup kambing. Which is not very healthy.
Or like
also,
tea,
right?
like plain tea, no sugar.
Kopi.
Right, without sugar.
But the food-wise, soup.
Well, tandoori chicken's okay. I think it's oven baked,
Yeah, it could. And naan.
That's the healthiest thing I can think of.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What is healthy eating in your opinion? What does it mean like for you guys?
For me, it's a balance of. I don't believe in the whole diet thing. Like you go for vegetable or strict diet,
like the extreme diets.
Yeah, because you have a lifestyle. So after you let's say you lose a few kilos and then you go back, it's the same thing and you pile on, right? So for me, it's a balance. Because our line of job, we eat out a lot, and there's a lot of very heavy meals at night. So what I do is, if I have a tasting the night before, but normally it's like 10, 11 course, right? It's either during the day for lunch, I just eat salad, like no carbs, or the next day I skip breakfast. And also I supplement. So on those privileged days that we don't eat out, like I really just eat soup with vegetable.
At home?
Quinoa, yeah, that's my to-go. If I'm at home cooking, is vegetable soup.
So something
Like,
very
and tofu.
clear.
And dashi soup.
I see.
You just pack a dashi, cabbage, loads of it, tofu.
That sounds pretty healthy.
Yeah, I would do that. Yeah, when
So
I
you do that to balance out the times you do indulge.
Yes, correct.
I think healthy eating for me is also, for sure getting your veg, but also I guess cutting out things like sugar. Like I think sugar is prevalent in so many things when you eat out, right? Desserts, whatnot. And I think that when we eat out, sometimes it's hard to realize like how much sugar there are and stuff. So I guess eating at home, you can kind of control all that stuff. Oil content, sugar content. But I guess other than what you're putting in your body, it's also about taking the time to have a meal, like a mindful meal. Because I think that with everyone's busy schedule, it's very common to eat lunch at the desk or whatnot.
Yeah.
Not really think about what you're eating, right?
With your
It's like,
phone in front of you.
yeah, it's almost like a means to an end rather than
Yeah.
actually thinking about like, very privileged to be having this meal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to. Healthy eating isn't just the thing you're actually eating, whether it's nutritious or not. It's also the whole the mindset that you have behind it. You're taking the time to just enjoy a part of your day instead of just going through the motions and eating slop. With that balance, we all know that, as much as, let's say we have a great approach to eating and we do eat, balance our meals, with the frieds and the non-frieds and the steam. What about workout? That's really one part of the equation, right? I think exercise is also another part of the equation that's really important. So do you guys work out, and how often do you work out?
Usually I like to run in the morning. So I wake up before the sun rises, like 6:30, and then I try to go for my run in the morning. Just so I guess it's a really short one. It's only like 20 minutes.
Okay.
But I guess it also is a way to kind of get the day going. You really feel like you've achieved something.
Every day I work out.
Every day?
Yeah.
Damn.
No, I think it becomes a lifestyle. Like it becomes a habit. So when I wake up, so you run, right? So I do 30 minutes of HIIT.
Okay.
I don't go to the gym. So I'm really advocate. I'm the example of you don't need to go to a gym.
Okay.
So I really just follow YouTube. What I do is HIIT, full body, then certain days I core, lower body and whatnot. And then I do rock climbing twice a week as well. But I do evening walk. So I think that was because during the pandemic. So I started walking around my neighborhood. I feel that it helps me to de-stress. I think it keeps you more balanced, and then it helps me to think of things and digest.
I think it's a necessity for the job.
Yeah. This is what we're doing. Yeah, seriously, like to a point where exercise is a habit. If I don't exercise, it feels a bit
right.
strange.
Okay. So I guess for greater context, for people listening and don't know what our jobs usually entail. So sometimes sometimes it's an understatement. Frequently, we go out to taste dinner menus that may span up to 11 to 12 courses. And so on those days, we are consuming a lot of calories. And actually
rich. Like, I think less carbs were very rich.
Yes, it's indulgent for you.
Yeah.
It's designed for you to indulge. Yeah, it's a privilege. Yeah, exactly. It's great that we can eat like this, but we also have to watch out the reality of it, because what goes in your mouth, it has to go out somewhere eventually, right?
Yes.
So it's only just for context. Sometimes we eat a lot of heavy foods, and that's why we do what we do to stay in shape and have some kind of like semblance of balance. Let's kick off the show with a little portion on the show I like to call Snack on This, where we taste 3 snacks. So on this episode, I brought one snack. We each brought one snack that we think is a healthy snack. Shall we try mine first?
Sure. Yes.
It's been my favorite section. To
eat as well.
It's the appetizer section. Mine is a feta cheese thin. It's like a Greek cracker. It's called dodoni. I actually, fun fact, I like to go to supermarkets and food stores and just randomly find things that pique my interest and buy them, and then keep them in the cupboard. And then one day I'm like, didn't realize there's a
what a surprise.
So this was one of those snacks. I was like, what do I bring for a healthy snack? And I was like, cheese tin. Does this sound kind of healthy? I mean, cheese is healthy, right? So it's feta. It's a cheese cracker baked with feta, and it's jalapeno chili flavored.
Delicious.
Okay, let's give it a try.
The ASMR. Oh my gosh, we're the same.
Here you go.
Thank you.
So give it a taste.
Thank
Let me
you.
know what your thoughts are. Oh.
The feta cheese was.
I don't get much jalapeno.
Jalapeno, it's more like a feta cheese.
Yeah.
Very subtle.
It's more like a feta cheese.
They say it's made with real Greek DPO feta. I have no idea that the
What
grading
the
of...
DPO? Oh.
I really taste feta. Not so much.
I'm guessing it's like,
DPO.
you know how Italian cheese has grading, like
Yeah.
Parmigiano Reggiano? Well, quite nice, right?
Yeah.
It's made with all natural ingredients. It's gluten-free. And it's also a good source of protein.
I like it. I'm definitely more of a savory girl than a sweet girl. So I do like this savory, cheesy, delicious, crunchy snack.
I think you can even put this on one of your recipes. Just crumple it into like a salad
Yeah. And then
or something.
to mix it, right? Yeah.
Okay, so 1 to 10, what would you rate the
10
snack?
being the best, right? I think I could do this in the seating as well. Like I could finish it.
It's a pretty small packet.
Small packet, right?
It's a pretty small packet. I think, even a half
7
hour.
for me?
7.
I'm a very generous rater. I'll give it an 8.
Okay. Is it, okay, you guys like cheese in general?
I do.
Yeah, I love
I
cheese.
love cheese.
Yeah.
So you probably, how strong would you rate your love of cheese?
Maybe also an 8.
Oh, that's pretty high.
Yeah. Same 8.
Okay. Awesome. Let's move on to the next
But
snack.
how about you? What do you think about this snack?
Yeah, where's your opinions?
It's like
Actually, I forgot about that. I would say a 6.5.
Oh, why
harsh
is that?
Only because,
Why is the 0.5?
only because that could be a stronger, more prominent feta taste, I feel. Feta's not actually my favorite cheese.
No. Oh, okay.
No, I like sharp cheeses, like more mature cheeses like cheddar, Gouda. Hence why I'm not such a fan of the light cheeses. But
see.
jalapeno chili, I thought the flavor could bring up the feta
true.
a bit.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
unfortunately, it's more feta than jalapeno chili.
Jalapeno.
Yeah.
We're opposite. I love soft cheeses. My favorite cheeses are like brie, burrata. Yeah.
But I do like a good burrata too.
yeah,
Yes.
so good.
But it has to be something flavorful to kind of balance it. You
True.
know,
Yeah.
if you enjoy it with
Yeah.
on a pizza or the heavier sauce kind of bringing it up. Yeah. So Katelyn, you brought Thips tempeh chips. Tell us a little bit about why you chose this snack.
Since I've discovered, I guess since I saw tempeh chips in the supermarket about maybe 2021, around COVID time, they're like, my favorite snack every time I like watch a movie or whatnot, whenever I'm with like family at home, watching TV shows or catching up on anything, it's always like, okay, where's the tempeh chips?
Oh, so it's that now.
I
It's
don't know
like
how healthy they are. I've tried lots of different brands. Some are a bit oilier than others. I chose this one because it had all these, I don't know, is it trans fat, 0% trans fat, cholesterol free?
Yes.
I don't know. I can't find any word that says big not fried,
Okay.
but it looked like it
It
was.
looks like
So.
it feels like it.
Okay.
Let's hope
okay.
so,
Okay.
yeah.
So, when I was I did some research about tempeh, and I was like, we all kind of know tempeh is a superfood, right?
Yeah.
But do you actually know why it's a superfood?
Was it because of the fermentation?
Yeah, that too. So I found out tempeh is has a high amount of protein as soy, and along with others various vitamins and minerals. It also is touted to decrease cholesterol levels, so fine print, oxidative stress and appetite, and it also is rumored to help you increase bone health.
Bone health.
Yeah,
Interesting.
so the Indonesians found the Holy Grail, and now everyone eats tempeh.
Tempeh.
Good that I've been eating it since 2020 then.
Need that
Extreme
calcium
bone
count,
density
yeah.
or something after this.
Okay, open it up.
I'll
Open
do
it
the
up.
honors.
So this is just salted, I guess.
Yes, there were a few flavors, but I was like, I guess sea salt
The
would be the
original, is
healthiest.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
What are the flavors that
Oh,
you
it doesn't
recommend?
smell fried. It smells almost like baked.
Yeah, I think there were. I can't remember actually. Maybe cumin.
Cumin.
Yeah.
Yummy.
It's actually quite yummy.
You don't get that very pungent tempeh taste, you know? Okay. Now I know why you want this for the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does taste good.
Okay, so I know tempeh is healthy. But how healthy do you think it is in like a chip form?
It's like vegetable chips, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're as healthy as real vegetables. Definitely not, but
Yeah, but you think it could be.
I guess it's healthier than potato chips.
Yes, if you put it that way.
Okay, so Katelyn, I know you're already a fan of the snack. I'm guessing you're going to rate this very high. What is your rating?
I have to give my tempeh chips a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
But I think I also really like crunchy snacks, savory snacks, and I like how it's quite nutty as well. And I still do think it's healthier than your average chips.
Chips,
so.
right.
I agree. Theri, what about you?
I think it's an 8. I really like this because I love tempeh. So
You love tempeh.
I think because probably I'm half Indonesian, Chinese.
So good.
Like tempeh with sambal. So good.
Deep fried tempeh?
Yeah. Well, deep fried is always good.
Yeah, normally it's the Indonesians go to like, it's almost like a nugget, like a block, right?
Yeah, correct.
And then you eat with
Fried.
sambal.
Yeah, sambal.
Rice.
Deep fried, but it still increases bone health.
Right?
So it's okay.
So it's okay.
I would rate it solid 8. I think it's a great snack. I would eat it throughout the movies.
Yes, I would, man.
Yeah, probably maybe one bag is not enough. Theri, so this is Theri's snack. She homemade this.
No, man, I just basically throw in whatever I have in my fridge. So my mom actually, she loves to buy nuts.
Okay.
And I haven't opened the drawer in a while. So I thought it'd be cool to just see what's inside. And I found lovely discovery. So I would call this the 8 treasures nuts.
8 treasures nuts. There you have it.
I actually packed it in a Chinese New Year snack bottle as well. So and
there you go.
Since like Chinese New Year is like we're all Asian, right? So it's very it's an Asian thing.
PM Theri to buy this from her if you want to.
Yeah. So there is about 8 type of ingredients in there, but I would like you guys to try. So there's 2 types of. Maybe I just go through the visible ones. So we have hazelnut, macadamia, cashew, pistachio, sunflower. Yeah, for the nuts, there's that. And then there's apricot. Okay, and then there's 2 types of this black
mystery berries.
So I would like you to try this one first. And then you can try the other one.
It looks like a pop-pop.
Yeah, I don't know this. Can you taste what it is?
Yeah, why?
Second one, is it a blueberry?
Yes, the second is blueberry.
It's a blueberry?
You have to guess the first one.
Wait, you get the first
one.
one.
This is not the first one, right?
This is not. The second one is a sweet one. So you eat the second one. So I know the first one's a bit bitter. So eat the second one so that you could clean up a bit.
This one's a blueberry.
Yeah, blueberry.
It's a dried blueberry?
Yeah, and I don't know why my mom would buy that. So I have.
No, I also have dried blueberries.
Really?
That's the reason why I know. It's
hasn't been open. So I'm like, I don't know why she
bought
bought
it.
It
was really
for.
nice in like granola.
Oh, really? Right? I didn't know that.
Right people to this episode.
Right? Blueberry. But yeah, can you guess the first one?
Oh my god, I have no idea. It's
No? Any guesses? No? It's black goji berry.
Black goji berry. Is it goji berry red?
Yeah, but it's black.
It's not even in the same shape because it has like a little stem.
Yeah.
You mean goji berries are
is the-
wolf eye berry is the same one, right? The one in soup. You put it in the Chinese in double boiled
So
soup.
this is the black. So
Actually
actually the packaging was from Yuan Sang.
Can I try it?
Sure.
So did you do anything special to them? Did you put salt? Did you put pepper? Or
No,
you just
nothing.
mix everything?
I just mix
So
everything.
there you go. You can even make a healthy snack from leftover stuff at
That's
home.
right. That's exactly what you find in the fridge, and I love doing that sometimes.
It's kind of like a trail mix.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah. And I think this is like I label it as healthy because it's unprocessed.
It is.
Right? Like, is it right to say that this mix is unprocessed?
So you buy all the ingredients like raw, unseasoned.
Unseasoned, yeah. So I roasted the hazelnut, and then the cashew nut was roasted before. The macadamia came roasted. So yeah, I just roasted it.
You can even eat this with Greek yogurt
Yeah, you
for
can.
breakfast. You know, that's really yummy.
Yeah, and I just discovered this because of your show. I was like, oh, okay, I bought this at home.
So because Theri made it, I'm guessing we all have to rate it 10 out of 10 now.
It's effort, 10 for effort. No, I'm just kidding.
But I think it's a great healthy snack. What would you rate it in terms of healthy snack?
I think like
healthy snack era. Like sorry, not era. Like the realm of healthy snacks.
Yeah, 9.5.
I give it a 10. Not just because Theri made it, but I think that also the idea of just mixing and matching what you have at home, and you don't always have to buy a snack. You can always make it.
Yeah. If you want to, you can buy a cheese tin like that, or the most opposite is you can make it at home with kind of like the things you have on hand.
It's just that my fridge has a lot of things that I'm not aware and I'm waiting for me to discover. It's just my mother loves to buy things. That's why. Yeah.
Okay, Theri, I'll give it a 9 as well. It's really yummy. I think it's a great trail mix. I would eat it with Greek yogurt. I prefer with Greek yogurt. I'm not a big nuts person.
Yeah.
I get too thirsty when I eat too much. Yeah. So I like to eat it with yogurt. We come to the topic section of the show. I'm a firm believer of you are what you eat, and eating healthy, and it's not something you kind of pick up. You kind of you have to learn into it, whether it's from your parents or some external source, whether you learn it by yourself. I would like to ask, when you guys start learning that eating right is important and having that kind of nutritious foods and having that balance was essential to you know, living as a person, what was that spark for you guys?
For me, it's definitely upbringing. My mother is a firm believer of supplements. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I've been sick. So I think that play a role, because since young I've been fed vitamin C, cod liver oil. Until now there's like pills of like calcium pill, vitamin C, D and E, whatnot, and she would shower me with aloe vera. So like I think from there on it's cultivated in me that it's important to live healthily, and it reflects that part that I'm not sick.
I think for me, it's, I guess I grew up in a family that was quite healthy because my dad's a doctor. So I guess healthy eating, home cooked food was always very normal.
What kind of doctor?
A heart doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That explains,
Yeah,
yes.
so we would have quite decently healthy home cooked meals, and I guess that was always reinforced since young. And I guess because there weren't a lot of sweets in the house, and if you don't constantly consume sweets, you don't really crave for them as much, or you tend to find things on the sweeter side when you have desserts, when you eat out.
Right.
So yeah, I think it was always quite easy for me to be healthy because my palate was, I suppose, used to eating decently plain food.
I see. I envy you both because, again, my path was very opposite from both of you. My parents are not healthy eating people, especially my father. He eats cheese from a can. So yeah, that gives you a gauge of what healthy eating means. You know, it's Cheetos on the table, it's Ruffles on the table. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know, but I used to be really, really big. I used to be 99 kilos actually. I used to be huge, and my waist was 44 inches. This was during my like late teenage years, and then I reached the point where I was 18 years old. Okay, and I was gonna study in Australia for a while, and I had 6 months to kill because the course only started halfway through the year instead of like at the start of the year. And I thought, well, if I have 6 months, I have nothing to do now, I guess this is the best time to get back into shape and get the balance. I didn't want to touch triple digits on the scale. No. So 99 kilo was the shocker for me to wake up and like, okay, I think this is too much. I need to scale back. And that was a spark for me. So I started teaching myself basic food science, like nutrition, and then I started exercising as well. So exercise has become a very normal part of my life. So it's great that you guys had a source to teach you when you were growing up. Yeah, quite different, which is great. So since you guys grew up eating right and from your parents, which is a great privilege, how does eating healthy and eating a balanced a diet how would you say improves your life?
I guess in terms of energy and in terms of just also keeping up with exercise, because it's always about the two sides, right? Exercise and also healthy eating. I think if you've just had a healthy meal, or if you've had a healthy dinner and you wake up in the morning to exercise, your body feels good, you feel ready to start the day. Whereas I think that, for example, if I have a night where I eat lots of sweets, or I really overindulge, or I eat way too much, or I drink a lot, I definitely wake up feeling, okay, I don't feel my 100%. So I think it's also about feeling good throughout the day.
So since healthy eating is kind of baked into your DNA and your the way you eat, your habits, how does that inspire you when it comes to you writing and then you doing your recipes and creating recipes? Does kind of reflect into your work as well?
I guess writing less so, but when I do create recipes, I think that I guess my ethos is healthy but really flavorful. So I don't think that things need to be unhealthy to be super tasty. You have lots of great ingredients, right? Whether local or from overseas, that can flavor food. Like, I think the one big thing is spices. So like spices like cumin or paprika and whatnot, they are so flavorful, but they aren't actually like unhealthy like a lot of like sauces are.
Yeah, spices are they're good for you, isn't it? Yeah.
So it's a great way to add flavor without things being unhealthy or super calorific. Yeah, also like using different grains, using different vegetables for texture. It's really delicious, but I think that vegetables, is really easy to overcook them, or if you don't do them well, they can be very watery, or like when you roast them at too low a temperature. So I think it's about maximizing flavor in a healthy way. Yeah.
And knowing the ingredients. I think like healthy doesn't need to be not tasty. In that sense. That's
right. It's a common misconception. People think, healthy food, it means it must be steam, it must be tasteless, there's no salt. Not necessarily.
And healthy, the word as well, right? You attach that connotation.
It's not a very sexy word.
It's not.
So when you attach it to like anything with food, you're like, is it going to taste good, What would you say are some examples of a healthy dish that actually just tastes really good? Maybe like an edamame, like a smoked.
I love edamame.
Yeah, exactly. Something simple like that. Even.
I love doing like baked meat. So like say like a whole baked salmon with like either harissa, za'atar, or like lots of like lemon, mustard. Really tasty, but also really healthy.
I don't know, pesto comes to mind.
Oh, I love pesto.
Yeah, basil pesto. It's just very simple, right? Just throw in garlic, basil, olive oil, and even sometimes I like doing garlic oil, like olive oil, and then you bake with garlic, and then the oil itself you just cook with pasta. Yeah, then chili flakes. That's it, right? So it's simple as that. It makes a difference.
I think the good thing about pesto is that you can change it up so much, right?
Yes.
The different types of nuts or whatnot.
Yeah, cashew nuts.
Yeah.
And cheese. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys say it's simple, but I know for a lot of people, it's a thing that most Malaysians struggle with. It's that balancing my time for work versus prioritizing healthy eating. I would say a lot of people, our generation or the current generation, they are aware that they shouldn't eat so much fried food and things, but out of convenience, for example, I see a lot of my colleagues, like, my office is in TDDI, and there are tons of things in TDDI. The only caveat is the healthy things, some always are more expensive. Yeah, they cost a little bit more because the ingredients they use are better, right? But then the food truck across the street costs like $10-12. And it's kind of flavorful. It's like, maybe it's like an ayam kunyit rice or something. And it's nice, but they rather gravitate to it because it's so near, it's convenient, it's easy. Yeah, so that's how do you guys balance your time, with a full-time job, with your own projects, and you still have the time to eat healthily?
I guess a common way would be meal prep. So say over the weekend, making a big batch of food and then saving leftovers, right? Because it's also cheaper if you do your groceries in bulk and then you divide that by say like 6 or 7 meals and then you're set for half the week or at least half the week. Yeah.
What's one meal prep you guys like to make consistently, you find yourself gravitating towards?
For me, pesto again. Because I really like my pesto. Okay, so you could spice it up you could mix it up with salad, and then you could do it with pasta.
Pesto with salad.
And then you could do it with chicken breast, right? You could do it with so many ways. So I will always do a paste, or I made my garlic oil. So I will do like a whole batch because you could store it. It's not something that you make one time and that's it. So I always try to be versatile where you can change the base as you want. Yeah.
I like doing roast chicken and salad, and like I know that, for example, for a lot of leafy salads, they get quite soggy if you've already dressed them. So I like doing couscous salads because I feel like the grains absorb liquids that might come out of vegetables. So I do it with like tomatoes, cucumbers, and then you can make a very simple like lemony mustard dressing, and it keeps really well in the fridge. Yeah,
I see. Yeah, meal prep is I guess the most economical way as well to eat healthily, because if you cook a healthy meal for just one meal, the cost is too high, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so there's this weird parallel as well, because you want to eat healthy, but the healthy foods cost more. The ingredients already cost more. Like whatever organic ingredients you buy, it just costs more, right? That's that catch, like, do I spend all this money buying better ingredients and then maybe I go home and I don't have the skills to translate into more flavorful food. So instead of doing that, I just go out and tap off food, or I order food on Grab. But what tips would you guys have if, let's say, you do not have the confidence to make your own healthy foods at home? I know it's really simple, and some people just kind of gravitate towards, if they were to order from Grab, any healthy choices that you've found yourself ordering on Grab, and you want a quick meal, or
I guess build your own bowls. So then we can choose like your green, your protein, your veg. I guess even like chicken rice, right? With steamed chicken rice and you have your cucumber on the side, it's still decently balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I like to order that I think is healthy, I'm just putting inverted commas now, because it's a falafel wrap.
Oh yeah.
I know it's deep fried, which is not very healthy, but falafels are still
chickpeas.
The dressing is kind of healthy. Yes. The vegetable stuffing is kind of healthy. So I like to say it's healthy. It's meat free. When I don't know when I want to go to meatless sometimes, like and then I don't know what to eat. I eat Indian food because it's delicious. But they make,
and the curry and the spices.
Yeah, Indian cuisines know how to cook vegetables.
Yeah, I love palak paneer.
Exactly.
And so it's very filling.
Yeah. Okay. So following up to that barrier when we are balancing life and kind of eating healthily, Malaysia is unfortunately still the fattest country in Southeast Asia. We have been so for quite a long time, unfortunately. I know when I was Googling Malaysia fattest country, right, and I found an article from BBC 10 years ago that said Malaysia was Asia's most obese country. This was 2014. Unfortunately, similar articles with similar headlines still pop up from time to time. You know, I see one from 2022, 2023, just 2023. I remember I saw an article from the Star repeating the same thing, saying, unfortunately, Malaysia, Brunei is second, but we are the reigning champions. And I just wanted to ask, what do you guys think, in your opinions, are some of the significant barriers that restrict Malaysians from having more, let's say, access to healthier food or choosing that option instead of just, you know?
I think there's a few factors. One, like you said, right, ironically, it's more expensive. We eat healthy. So that's one. And then our cost of living, right, and our wage is quite low. Inflation is going up. Because I just saw the other day, someone was sharing me a TikTok that our inflation had gone up 50% at least compared to a few years ago. Like last time bubble tea was like 5 ringgit 60 cents. Now it's like 11, 12, thereabout. So I think, and it's in convenience as well, like you have Grab, and then all the ads that pop up are McDonald's, KFC, and you're familiar with the taste, so you just go with that. So there's a lot of
sense
convenience.
The convenience and familiarity.
Yeah, and then you grow up eating nasi lemak, right? Morning is nasi lemak, right? So that is a very good example that morning is rice, you know, and it's noodles and it's I think it's just our culture, Malaysian.
And
thing.
I guess also with the weather, it's not easy to walk everywhere. So I guess we definitely do walk less, and I guess it does add up, right? If it's a more sedentary lifestyle.
Exactly, yeah.
So weather and convenience. Yeah, I would say that's a big barrier. I would say money is also a barrier, especially for those who are not maybe middle class or just coming into the workforce or younger. Like, how do you afford, you know?
You have other priorities, right?
Yeah, you got bills to pay, you got rent to pay. I understand that's a big, significant block to getting accessible, healthy food. But like you said, maybe it's time to learn to cook for yourself, and you can control what you put in your food instead of, okay, maybe I eat chap fan 3 times a week, you know, when we don't know what's inside the dishes. Okay, so, you know, I rarely get 2 people who are writers in this room. I thought it would be a great time to talk about the current state of the F&B scene, because normally when I talk to chefs, they have very different viewpoints from me because they're looking internally, right? And not necessarily every chef knows all the restaurants that are out there, because they don't have the chance to taste, they don't have the time to taste, you know, they only have a select amount of time to do so. We fortunately, sorry, slip of the tongue. We fortunately have been blessed that we can go, we get invited for these events, we taste new restaurants, we taste new menus. So I want to talk about, where do you guys think the F&B scene in Malaysia is right now? Are we in a good place? Are we improving? I like to think we're in a kind of like a golden age of gastronomy for Malaysia.
No, I have to agree. Yeah, I think loads of exciting restaurants opening, lots of creative chefs, lots of movers and shakers doing amazing things for our F&B scene. Also, maybe a little move away from fine dining and more towards like sharing plates, communal dining. But it's nice. We have a really great mix of everything, right?
And I think with the addition of the Michelin Guide, I know everyone has their opinion about it, but it does bring, I think, hope to the younger generation that, hopefully it brings them the hope that I could come back to Malaysia and build something.
Yeah, that's right.
Or retain all our talent in the country, right? Because there's a hope of winning such a prestigious award within the country.
That's right. I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there who don't realize that we have some amazing Malaysian chefs who do not cook in Malaysia.
No.
They do not. They're not in the country. They're in Singapore. They're in other countries.
In Odette.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a prime example that we have great talent. Unfortunately, not here. We want to bring them back, obviously. But you're right. The Malaysian F&B scene is super exciting right now. I think it's a great time to be in the scene. How do you think we fare in the Southeast Asian region, though, when it comes to dining? I know we're still a little bit behind, but what do you guys think?
I mean, I'm very hopeful. I think there's loads of room for growth, lots of opportunity. A very exciting place to be. Yeah.
I feel like some of the things that hinder us from going further is the disconnect between our spending power as what we earn and dining out. Because I know the appetite is there. Malaysians inherently love food. You know, we're just born to appreciate food. It's very much in our culture. It's in our greetings. We ask you, what have you eaten today? You know, instead of like, what's the weather like? No one cares about that. We only care about what you ate for lunch.
What is for lunch?
Because we want to know if you had something yummy, tell me. I want to go and eat this yummy thing, right?
And then within our meal, we will still talk about what you're going to eat next, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're always thinking about food.
Yes.
Yes. So yes, there's this connect where people are hungry to taste more, but I know some of them are hesitant because like, oh no, you know, I have to spend like $100-$200 to just try this. I don't know whether it's going to be good. It's a gamble. And there's so many restaurants popping up, which is good as well. But it's every time you try a new restaurant, it's like a new thing, right? What do you guys think?
I guess it does still just, then it becomes a more special occasion thing, right? Splurging on a meal that is a big proportion of your salary then just becomes something that you do for a birthday or once every 2 months.
And like she said, like I think it's hopeful. Like we're definitely progressing. If you compare us to 5 years ago, right? There's definitely our scene is progressing, and there's a lot now towards the narrative of modern Malaysian stories, right? Introducing indigenous ingredients, which I think is really good. So I think we are a bit behind if you compare us with Singapore or Bangkok, but definitely in time we will get there. And I think unfortunately you're paying for knowing the ingredient, right? You're paying for a lot of other things. So I think hopefully in time the Malaysian consumer will be more educated. And then we're very well traveled. So hopefully we're more appreciative of why fine dining are priced as such. Yeah.
Is this a sentiment you guys find when you talk to people not in our position, for example? I guess we are an anomaly because we get to taste all this for a living. But people who are foodies, but not necessarily in the scene like us, do you find that they're willing to spend money to try new restaurants? And what's the general sentiment in your opinion, in your experience like?
I think so, yeah. Especially with so many restaurants opening. I guess if you are a foodie and it's a great time to be in Malaysia. I think that the general sentiment is everyone is quite excited for the Malaysian dining scene.
Yeah.
But I guess when I talk to people who are maybe they love their food, but they're not in the F&B industry, I guess the most common question is still like, where do I eat next? Yeah. So I guess
where would you recommend?
Time to be
so
like,
it happens to you too.
Yeah, I get questions
I think
all
it's
the time. The most common question that we have.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Oh, that is a very tough question. I cannot answer.
Yeah.
But I always try to narrow it down because I'm like, okay, what cuisine?
Yeah.
Or like,
what
what's your price point?
Exactly.
Right? Because like we have so much diversity, so much breadth, and so many great things happening. Yeah. It's so hard to pick one, right? So I try to find out a bit more about what they're looking for.
Exactly. Yeah. We get that all the time.
Yeah, same here. I'm like the walking go-to directory for people. Like, hey, I have this dinner. Where do I go? I'm like, oh, yeah. Hello to you too. Yeah, you know, like I have a name, I'm a person.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love to help people.
Yeah.
So on that subject, right? Okay, with food is such a popular subject. It's not a secret. And then with it being so popular, there are a lot of people, content creators, who choose to cover food. And I feel like with the Malaysian dining scene is increasing. We're in such a great time to be a diner, a curious diner as well. How do you food criticism is very subjective as well. So my curiosity is how would you recommend to our listeners to determine the credibility of what they're listening to or what they're tuning into on social media? Like when you watch a reel from someone or you hear someone giving you like, I went to this pasta restaurant. It's the best pasta restaurant in KL. What tips do you have to separate when they're exaggerating, when they're doing it for, when they're being genuine, kind of like the telltale signs for you guys?
I think that when you watch anything, right, you have to kind of, I guess if you have the time, and especially if it's for a special occasion and you're booking this restaurant and you're bringing friends, I think do like cross-check with other Google reviews or whatnot. I guess as much as you want to trust whatever is on the internet, you do have to do a little bit of due diligence.
I highly recommend it, guys.
Yeah.
Please do your due diligence. Research multiple resources.
Or just click like reviews and read like other reviews. I think normally then you get a good gist.
And adding to that, I know that not a lot of people read caption anymore, but I feel that if you want to be a content creator, whether food writer, you need to learn how to write.
Right.
And those that say, this is the best pasta, but what is it more to that, right? I feel the ability to
Why is it the
capture
best pasta?
other relevant information, like maybe the chef stories or like very specifically the flavors, maybe the ingredients. So I feel like it's very easy for anyone can do it because food is so accessible. Anyone could just open an account, do a review, and then that's it and say, pasta is so good, this laksa is so good, but what is it so good? Right? So I feel like there's this account I follow called Little Mac Sui. Yes. So if you read her caption, they're really detailed. She knows what she's talking about. And she made an effort to learn about the industry and talk to the chefs and whatnot. So I feel that is credibility to me because you are not just eating and, like how could that be delicious? And taste is subjective.
Yes.
So every time when someone recommends, they ask me, okay, where's the best pasta? I would say it's very subjective. My taste is not your taste, but this is where I go to. That kind of thing. So I feel it's in the writing and how the person, and also the intentionality behind it. Because now social media, everyone wants attention. The hidden bar. The next, like the kind of thing, like this is the best burger.
I mean, in all honesty,
you must try this.
I know. In all honesty, we have to think about things like this too. Yeah. But there comes to a point where it becomes, okay, so going back to what we're talking about credibility, when someone tries to educate me on something instead of just telling me and just using it to hype themselves up, then I know it's credible. Because they're teaching me something, they're giving me a lesson. I'm like, exactly. I didn't know soy sauce is made like that, for example. Yeah. So that's the telltale sign for me, yeah. So that's also what I think people in our role should be aspiring towards. We are educators. We're not there to be popular.
And words carry responsibility.
Exactly, yeah.
Because very recently I first hadn't heard of this. So there's this content creator. The base is not very small, like about 1K, but she's just someone who posts about this pasta place, artisan pasta place, that I think it was very hyped up because there are 3 other content creators that say this place was really good.
Okay.
But it was a very disappointing experience for him.
Okay.
So he went on a rampage about how disappointing it is. He tagged those 3 content creators in it, and then he even screen share a Google review, a bad Google review, over 50 reviews.
Okay.
And I have not said the privilege, but I had the first-hand experience because I know the team, the person that works at social media.
Yeah.
And behind the scene, the chef was really anxious about it because chefs are craftsmen. This is their passion, their soul was poured to it. And this guy has this really small pasta place. And so the next subsequent day, when the customers say his pasta wasn't good, and then he was just texting my friend, like, oh my God, this customer saying my pasta is not good. What do I do about it? So no matter who you are, no matter how influential, even if you're a small timer, people read and people love attention, people love drama, and people feed on that.
Yes.
So you say this place is disappointing, people would just
unfortunately, it grabs your attention more than
exactly. Like healthily, the comments are either food media, mass food media. The comments are just not really good, and people like attention. So words carries weight.
They do.
And it's also like one bad experience doesn't define a restaurant,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
That's something I was going to say as well. As professionals, we know that when you dine in a restaurant, there's so many factors to ensure that it is a good meal. It's not just the restaurant cooking and presenting the meal at the best as they can. It could be your mood.
Exactly.
For example, if you had a fight with your partner and you dined at a $800, let's say, restaurant, would you have a good meal? Of course not, right? Yeah, it varies.
Yeah.
Maybe human error. The service team could be off, could be having a bad day. Benefit of the doubt,
But I think not many people realize that.
Yeah. And I guess that like you can't really judge a restaurant based on one bad experience, right? And as much as you might feel very passionately about it, I think also approaching the team or saying like, hey, think that this could be improved, rather than actually posting it on social media or trying to slander.
Exactly.
Is
Yes.
And good food speaks for itself. So if it's a bad experience, I wouldn't post it up. I would just be informational about it, but let other people come experience it. But if it's constantly 9 out of 10 it's bad, then it will show for itself. The business will close down because customer won't come in.
Exactly.
So let that be. So that's what I would say about bad experiences. Yeah.
I think that is a great way to tackle it. So let's rewind a bit. This time we were talking about the kind of role we play in the F&B scene, and that is an important thing I wanted to discuss about. I think sometimes some of us may forget what kind of role we play in the F&B scene. What your sentiment of how we as content creators, writers, the media, whatever it is, it could be whether you're formal and whether you actually belong in a media title, or you could just be someone who just started an Instagram account and started talking about it. You're still in the same category in the sense that people listen to you when you have a big enough following, right? So what kind of role do you think we play in the F&B industry?
the role that I want to play is a supportive role towards the players, the movers and shakers, even the smaller names in our local F&B scene, to tell their stories, to give them a platform to showcase their artisan products or whether it's their creativity, to tell their stories, to share with our readers things that maybe our readers might not know before, the craft that goes into what they create, and just the human side, right, of the F&B industry. I think it's not just the food that you're served and the food that you eat. There's actually someone behind that doing all the work behind it.
That's right. There's so many cool stories that people should know about. How about you, Theri?
It is our job to craft that story, right? Because, like I said, I think we need to be more aware of our responsibility, and we are basically conduit between the diners and the restaurants, right? So chefs, they are craftsmen, they do what they do best, and there's so much here going on. Like, there's so many ideas, but I think we are in the privileged role that we could translate that to words that could encourage or convince someone to come and dine. So I think, like Katelyn as well, like I think to learn their story and how do you craft that story out of it, right? Because stories are made, they're not born. And it's how well you could be that storyteller for the chefs. And I think it's a very cool role, like you know how you mentioned about Lee Damansara, you were there with them when they first started out, and now they're the 8 years anniversary, right? So if I could be that for like a gem, like could find a chef, a gem that when he first started out, we all supported about him, and then he go on to gain a Michelin star, that I think to me is the greatest, like, wow, like hopefully I play a bit of part in that journey and to
I think you hit the nail on the head. Yeah. I couldn't have put it in a better way myself. What happens when you guys have a bad experience at a restaurant?
If the chef asks, I would tell him, right? And I wouldn't write in words, in content, anything. But like you said, I agree that you just be informative. That's our role, and that's it. Yeah.
Likewise, I don't think that one bad experience defines a restaurant. I mean, I like to cook, right? But I've also made terrible meals. And I hope that doesn't make me a terrible cook, right? If it's someone to come that day and then judge me and be like, okay, like Katelyn's a terrible chef. Like, I would never go and try her food, right? But I guess if I was on the restaurant side, that I'd be given another chance and to maybe be told that feedback and take it on board and be like, okay, this is how I'm going to do it the next time.
If everything is bad, then it's very tough. But I like to also look at the good and the bad. Sometimes it's not just the bad, right? There are silver linings in an experience. But you're right. I feel like us in general in the media, we don't really, it's not our MO to talk about bad stuff in general. Even since I was a young reporter, it was just it's not the way we do things. It's very different from the way other critiques do things in different countries where if they don't have a good experience, they do it. But debatable whether they do it because it's ego or whatever, right? Yeah. But I'm agreeing with Katelyn. I like to play a more supportive role as well. I believe we are complementary to it. Like what you do, Theri, you're getting the stories out there to tell people. Because I believe that with education comes appreciation. If I don't learn why this chef went to so-and-so in Malaysia to source this ingredient and master this ingredient, how would I appreciate him charging me 400 ringgit for this menu where I'm tasting this ingredient when I don't even know? Yes, there's no context, there's no appreciation there, yeah. So demystifying some things about our job, what would you say are some of the best perks of your job besides the free food?
Paid for dinner. And I think what was the best job?
Best perks, yeah. Best perks of the job.
You get access to the stories and the chefs. You can get it as, even though it's a stupid question, but because you're a writer, you know that privilege to ask that question and you can go to the kitchen, which I love doing, and I think it's just a privilege to be the front row seat in a restaurant.
That's right. I mean, I know, Katelyn, you have a cooking experience, and Theri too, but I don't have any cooking experience. So for me to go behind the scenes and see how these chefs do this, it's kind of like it's very cool to see how things get done and how they orchestrate their team, for example. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think another part also is it's a very social job. So you're meeting loads of key players in the industry, and like Theri said, having the privilege to tell their story, but also just hear so many stories, right? Because I think the more you hear, the more you understand, and the more you learn, and the more you're able to convey what exactly the F&B industry is all about, right?
That's right. That's
and
right.
I think that leads towards that's why I think we wouldn't have a lot of bad experience, because when you know the story, when you know the hard work, it kind of gives a good experience in general.
Yeah.
For the dining, it's a very different dining experience.
Yeah. And what about the most challenging parts of you guys find of your job?
I think the consumption, but also I guess if you're at work like 9 to 6 and then you have a tasting after, as much as it's enjoyable, as much as it might be, you might be close to the chef, as much as it might be a great meal, it's still, I guess, working hours, right? So it's a long day.
It's just that a lot of people would say, oh my God, you have a dream job.
I know. But then
it's still work. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's immense privilege to eat and dine. But at the same time, when you go to tasting, there are mental notes to take on. And
that's right. You're taking tasting notes. You're thinking about how this dish fits in the other dish. You're thinking about the ambiance. You're thinking about the menu. You're thinking about so many things at one time.
It's and then hopefully you capture all the best shots and whatnot.
How to write your article after, how to translate the experience into words.
That's right.
So I think it's not, as much as it's enjoyable, it's you also have to have your brain on at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, you guys know what I'm talking about when you're dining and you're thinking and you're just absorbing as much as you can, right? Have you guys ever come across writer's block before in your experience?
All the time.
How
I need intervals when I write. So I go into bite size. So sometimes, because I normally deal more with interviews, I prefer writing interviews. Sometimes food description for me is a bit not so easy to come by.
I see.
For me, that's why I lean towards ingredients. So yeah, I do get.
I think that in the beginning when I first started writing, yes, because I really struggled with it actually. But I feel like writing is a muscle. So I feel like the more you do it, the more you're like, okay, I know how to structure this story. Okay. I know how to what I'm going to write about. But I think that, I really struggled with it in the beginning. Okay. Especially not coming from a writing background.
Yeah, because I'm not from a writing background. So,
right. Yeah. So for those out there who are aspiring writers who want to create content out there, what would you say is a trick to overcoming writer's block?
Keep writing.
Keep writing. So even
just keep at it. Keep
going. Don't stop. Never stop.
Okay. Serious note, writer's block. I think for me, because I need to organize. Normally I would just put. Let's say if I after interview or whatnot, I have a few pointers, and then if I'm stuck, I'll come back to it another day.
Okay, that's
or
a great tip.
I would have a good drink before. Yeah.
An elixir.
Yeah. Mine is just really very simple: Angostura bitter, soda, syrup, and lemon. That's it.
I love that you have a cocktail for this writer's block.
It's very light.
Yeah,
so that's my go-to.
Writer's block here.
Yeah, that's
the
my
cure. Yeah, guys, pay attention. This is what you need at home.
I'll bring it to office next time. You'll be like, you shouldn't be drinking in office. Like, it's okay. Theri told me it's a cure for writer's block.
It's just Angostura bitter. So that's it.
Okay. How about you, Katelyn? What do you do?
I think the best thing to do, advice for someone starting to get into the industry, is probably to read more. So when I first got the job, I had like 3 months before I started, and I said, okay, I think I'm going to struggle with the writing part. And it was the beginning of the year, and I gave myself a target to read 100 books in a year.
Wow.
Which I didn't achieve.
I love how you just nonchalantly
I read like 35. It's not too terrible, but I really think that it also opens you up to a lot of different styles of writing, a lot of different new vocabulary, ways of stringing words together, and it actually does help. Before that, I hadn't read in like maybe 5 or 6 years, which probably was why I wasn't very good at writing, but I think it's something that you can definitely build up.
I think that's a great tip. I myself, actually, the way I got inspired to write food was actually from sci-fi writing.
No way.
Yeah, so I love science fiction, and I was actually into this series. I don't know if you guys know. It's a super geeky it's called Warhammer 40,000. Okay, yeah. Long story short, it's a very masculine hyper war thing. War is everything. Okay, so my writing style started to become very biblical when I was younger, very dramatic, and I managed to translate that into food as a young writer, and I thought that was a great source of inspiration. So you're absolutely right. You don't have to necessarily read food-centric media to get inspired to write. Another great tip, personally for me, is I journal a lot. So that journaling helps me to overcome writer's block because I'm writing about a different subject. Therefore, I'm technically writing. So why do I have the writer's block then in the first place if I'm writing about something else? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We come to the last part of the show. Today's game is basically called We Wanna Know. It's to really just get to know you guys a little bit more, your personalities. And It's very simple. So it starts from easier questions, kind of like more difficult in the end. Nothing too difficult, I promise you. Okay, I've broken down today's...
Phone a friend. I'll phone a friend.
Yeah, phone a friend. Like, who wants to be a millionaire? Okay, so it's divided into two segments. One is food and one is, well, life in general. I'll start with food. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Mint chocolate chip.
Vanilla ice cream. A good vanilla ice cream.
Okay. What's your ultimate cheat day meal?
Hot bread fried chicken.
Oh.
Yeah, if I could eat 3 of that, maybe 5.
5 pieces.
With their curly, like they have this curly fries. There's something about curly fries. And their milkshake. Oh, wow.
Okay, that sounds like a cheat day meal to me then.
So all that'll be good.
Okay.
I was talking about calories don't count. I would eat a lot of cheese.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, what are your top 3 favorite cheeses?
Ooh, I already know the answer to this one.
Tell me.
Okay, it's stracciatella, and then burrata, which I guess is the same family, and then brie.
Okay, you do like your soft cheeses. Okay. My ultimate cheat day meal, basically whatever I wanted, including drink. Okay, for example, if I would just go all out, I would go for barbecue. Ribs, mac and cheese, anything that I just shut my brain off and just send me into coma mode for the next 8 hours. Yeah, that sounds like a great cheat meal to me. Okay, tell us a few foods, 1 or 2, it could be any, that you dislike as a child but have since grown up to enjoy it as an adult.
Maybe bitter gourd?
Oh, same.
Yeah.
But I still hate that.
I'm still not the biggest fan, but it's a bit more palatable now.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, but now I could take in fried bitter gourd.
Yeah, okay, the one at banana leaf doesn't count, okay?
It doesn't count.
That's not real bitter gourd.
All right.
That's a heavily spiced bitter gourd.
Probably chili for me.
Like, as in chili padi?
Yeah, chili. I used to not consume chili. Like, I don't understand people. Sometimes people will say, oh my God, there's something missing about this.
Yes.
I need my chili.
I do not understand these people.
I do not understand that. But somehow, over the last few years, something just click, and now I understand what.
Now you're one of those people.
Yes, I love my mala. I love sambal. I need chili. Yeah.
You said 2 things, right?
1 or 2, up to you.
Okay, I have another one. I used to not like eggs.
What?
Yeah.
How can you not like eggs?
I don't know. I had the egg ick as a kid, and then now they're one of my favorite.
So, what age did you start appreciating eggs?
I think maybe only when I was like 13 or 14.
Oh, that's pretty late.
Yeah.
What was the straw that broke the camel's back? Was it fried eggs or was it scrambled eggs?
When like that brownie yolk went really viral on Instagram.
So yolk porn basically.
Yeah. And I'd be like, oh, I think I'm missing out. I want to post my runny yolk on Instagram too.
You were missing out.
And also avocado toast. I think it just goes really well together. And avocado toast is like my favorite breakfast. Yeah.
That's very Aussie, by the way.
Yeah.
For me, it was ginger. Like, I wouldn't mind it if it was, because it's so prevalent in Chinese cooking, you cannot escape it. It's in Kung Fu Chow, it's in Cantonese fried noodles, it's in every stir-fried dish. And you bite it and you're like, oh, I thought this was fish cake. No, but it's spicy, right? But yeah, hated it as an adult. Hated it as a kid, love it as an adult. Do you enjoy eating alone? Why or why not?
Oh, yes, I do.
Why?
When the people ask me one of my best experience, like there's not a lot. My best experience was me solo dining in the old Sujiki market.
Oh.
I think coming to the point coming to our conversation that eating is not just about food, it's about the build up of everything. And because at the time I was a solo diner, and ironically I couldn't remember the name, but there was this top 2 sushi place. So I just went in queue, and then within like a few minutes, then the person came up, itchy, like one person, and then I skipped the queue. Because when you queue for a few hours, your expectation goes up, right? And then with the Google reviews and everything. So I think at the time, my expectation wasn't high. So I was immediately going in there. And because it's so unassuming, I like places like that. Like, it's not about the decor, the concept, but it's really about the food. And I literally felt like I could park my worries and everything out the door. And it was just experience. I think because when you're a solo diner, your focus is on the food and the chef, and just that being yourself, So yeah, that was my best experience. So like I enjoy solo dining sometimes, but also it depends on the concept. Yeah, not everywhere can do solo dining.
Of course.
Yeah.
Honestly, no. I think that I'm so used to food being communal because I grew up in a family that we always had dinner together and we always had meals together. And then when I lived abroad, I would be like, okay, who wants to have dinner with me? Like one of the reasons that I cooked as well for friends was because I didn't want to eat alone. So as much as it's out of my comfort zone, I can do it, but I would prefer not to. I think also because I like to discuss the food when I eat it. And I'll eat something, I'll be like, hey, this was really, I'm like, oh, there's no one there. Yeah, okay, just to me, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, there's no one.
It's like, and?
Okay, I'm like you, Katelyn. I prefer not to if I could have the choice. But if I have no choice, I would dine alone. It's something I had to learn to do so over the years, though. It was not like...
Probably comes with age, so I'm not sure.
No, it was more like... okay, so I have a self-diagnosed problem. I don't know if it's real. Ever since I was young, I don't like being alone. I like to be in company. Because I grew up in a big family. So whenever I don't have to be talking to people. I just need to know that people are around me. And I feel much more at ease. So I think, but I don't know if it's real, but the psychological term is autophobia.
Oh my gosh. You've just diagnosed me. I have the exact same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And even if someone's not interacting with me, they can just be in their own room.
Yeah, I don't need to talk to you.
Yeah, just like the present.
I just need to know you're in the same space.
You feel like, oh, I'm so calm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I prefer not to eat alone because of that reason. I have this, self-diagnosed problem that I've learned to tolerate over the years. Yes. During my young adult life. Because you can't always be with someone. Yeah. Good to know. Yeah, we have the same problem. Okay. How important are table manners to you guys? Is it a relationship deal breaker level problem, or what's the importance?
I think it depends on how bad the table manners are. If it's like elbows on the table, it's like fair enough.
I do that
you
too.
might be tired too.
Chopstick, rice in the bowl.
It's fine.
Okay.
I think I can't take being rude to servers.
Yeah,
same.
Okay, that's the limit.
Yeah, that reflects his character.
Yeah. Okay, but honestly, if you're chewing with your mouth open and things are falling out,
it's fine.
I think that's also a deal breaker.
So chewing mouth open, then he said, hey, why are you so late with my food? That's the deal breaker.
Yeah, I mean, like chewing with the mouth open to the extent where it gets on the table and gets on me and it's all. I think that's quite bad, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened, right?
Yeah.
No. Okay. What do you think your food choices say about your values as a person?
Growth, maybe.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, I feel like seasonal.
Okay.
Like when I'm younger, I don't exercise this often, or like I don't really like know about my body. You know, you just consume, right? You just like go out and then you just eat and then fried stuff. Yes, McDonald's and whatnot. But I think as you grow, then I need to learn how to love my body.
That is an interesting idea. So that you associate your food choices as an evolution of your growth as a person.
I hope so. Yeah. and if I can, could afford like fine dining, like, okay, you know what? Tomorrow I just want to book myself to a 1,000 omakase because I can,
If you can, yes. Why not?
Why not, right? So, anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess the question is also a bit about how does different food relate to different personalities,
Yeah.
right? It's quite funny. It's like a BuzzFeed quiz.
Exactly. What does your food choices say about your personality?
I don't know, if you're a fan of pineapple on pizza, I think we could be friends.
Oh, no.
Because I'm a fan.
That's
I'm okay. I'm good. Yes, I am.
Can or like it?
Can.
You sure you want us on your podcast now?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know that you like pineapples on pizza. No, it just changes everything. No. To each their own. Yeah, I just don't like sweet stuff in my savory. That's why I don't like my pineapples on the pizza.
Oh, but how about like cheese and honey or like...
That's fine. It's just really weird. So I like certain sweet and savory, but not all.
Or chocolate ice cream and sea salt.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So how about pineapple on pizza?
No. He's like, no.
Hawaiian wasn't even invented in it was invented in Canada, you know that?
Really?
By a Greek immigrant.
Yeah. Comes from everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all the questions I have. Thank you guys, and thank you Katelyn and Theri for being such awesome guests. I had such a blast talking to you two. I'm Tien, and thanks for tuning on Chew This, where I'll always be bringing on a crunch.